Hi, and welcome to Terra Mutata Healing Center and to our Free Spirits Association. Welcome to our media library. Both share the media library with each other. This makes sense because our topics are partly very similar. Well, today's short video is about alternative and holistic animal health care. I would like to give you a short insight into this topic, and I would also like to show you our horses today and a little summary of our last Let's Talk meeting in a small group where we could discuss and talk also about individual issues and topics or maybe problems. And I would like to sum this up today with this short video. But let me first of all give you a kind of, well, where are we? Who are the horses? And let's give you a short introduction. Well, here we are in Sweden. We are in Värmland. This is more or less the Midwest of Sweden. And we are not far away from Norway's capital, Oslo, about 3 hours, 3-hour drive. And yeah, we are close to Norway, to the Norwegian border, which is quite convenient. And here you can see our horses, or you can see our Icelandic ladies. To the left there is Salka, and to the right there is Sidis. Both ladies will turn 31 this year. Then let me turn a little. You see, it's February 2024. We're having quite challenging conditions at the moment. It was raining and it will freeze again. So as you see here, we have taken some precautions, some preparations. This is a very special soil mixed with very tiny wooden chips, and this is quite good. In Swedish it's called torfmix, so I'm quite sure that you will get this in your country too. And this is quite good to, well, give the horses some grip, because as you can see here, let me show you, this is just ice, yeah, blank ice. And since we have old horses, also here our white horse Kafchi, he will turn 27 or I think 28 this year. So we should take care of them and make sure that they can walk properly. This is Blecky, our youngster. He will turn 12 this year. And yeah, what were we talking about on our last SureFix Let's Talk meeting? Well, we were talking about holistic alternative animal health care, quite a long word also in English. And yes, we were talking about three things. So the first part was about a general part, meaning what is important to take into consideration for any type of animal, no matter whether this is a horse, a goat, a sheep, poultry, chicken or quail, or a dog. By the way, here is Cindy, our dog. And yeah, there are some general things. And I also said that, well, I would say that considering these general things, we should make about 2/3 at least of your healthcare. So it's not so much specifically you need to know for your breed or for your type of animal. It's a lot of general knowledge. And that's quite good because it makes the whole thing quite simple. So let me give you an overview. Uh, Part 2, then we went into more detail, giving specific information on specific types of animals. The participants had cats, rabbits, and also horses. So we went into more detail with these three types of animals. And Yeah, let me just show you all of the horses always in between. And yeah, part 3 was then about what kind of role does animal communication play when it comes to healthcare? What kind of role does craniosacral therapy play, especially when it comes to taking precautions? And also, we opened the huge toolbox of, kinesiology, homeopathy, so all the energetic tools we have, also herbs, flower essences, according to Dr. Bach. So there is a huge box we can open here. And yeah, these were the 3 parts. I would, in this video, focus on part 1. So I would like to give you these general guidelines, which I said, and from my experience of many decades, I would say there's about 2/3 of the healthcare for your animal. So we said, what first of all does holistic and alternative mean? So we made clear that we know the terms. Holistic means that we are taking everything into consideration, everything. So not just the symptom, but the whole animal and surrounding area. So everything is taken into consideration here, and that's important. Alternative, well, it's an alternative to classic medicine. It's an alternative to what is generally known, what is generally considered to be helpful. Well, I really see it as an alternative. I do not fight classic medicine, but I'm very aware of what it is good at and where it can help and where it can't. So whenever it comes to an accident, to a serious injury where it needs surgery, of course, there is now the place and the time of classic medicine. You would need a surgeon to, do the surgery, do the operation, and so that the animal has a chance to survive. This is absolutely logical. It does not make sense here to start with alternative treatments when there is a serious injury that needs surgery. Quite the rest of it, I would say, especially when it comes to long-term symptoms. I'm not talking about illnesses because from my point of view, they don't exist. We have a range of symptoms very individually and very individual for each animal. And actually, we would need individual alternative medicine. And this is where actually part 3, animal communication and craniosacral therapy, has a big and a huge role to play. But not for this video, it would be too much for one video. So we have cleared now the terms, what is holistic, what is alternative. And now let's come to the general part. What should be considered when we talk about animal health care alternative and holistic animal health care? Well, go through the list. Term 1, tick 1 of the list is ask yourself, is it what I'm doing animal and species appropriate? So the way I keep my animal, the way I feed my animals, the way I think about my animals, is this species and animal appropriate? What does it mean? Well, here in this case, please go back to the wild animal. So when we have horses here, go back to the wild horses. What is typical of wild horses? How do they live? What do they eat? How do they behave? What about their motion? Etc., etc. So this is very important because after so many decades we have got used to so much, but we have made most of our animals very much like a human and think that's appropriate, but it's not. So That's number one on the list. Go back to the wild form of your animal, learn about it, research, and then try to adapt and adjust your setting as much as you can. And when you come to the point where you say, well, I can't give this to my animal. It's too much of change I would have to make here. I don't have the room, I don't have the space, I don't have the time, whatever. Then please think about it honestly. Is it then okay to keep the animal? Well, you have to be very honest here. Number two on the list of the general list is age appropriate. So it makes a difference. Here, our ladies, you see them, they will turn 31 this year. They need something else than, let's say, a 2 or 3-year-old horse would need. And having a 2 or 3-year-old horse, or maybe one or two just here with them, I don't know if this would be very healthy. This might turn out to be very stressful for the two ladies now. And the 2 or 3-year-old horse would have nobody to play with, no companion, no playmate. So it wouldn't be satisfying for each of them. So age appropriate. What does an elderly animal need? What does an old animal need? Usually with age come more symptoms. I'm not, again, talking about illnesses, but am I aware of these symptoms? Do I know how to deal with them? Have I got enough knowledge and expertise? Have I got enough time? Think about death. Yeah, when it comes to old and elderly animals, death is close. So, is it for you okay to put an animal down? It's not for me, I have to say. I will tell you in the video when we're talking about craniosacral therapy, why not. Yes, I did it too. Those were the days when I did not have enough knowledge about it, and then I promised myself and also my animals that I will never ever do this again, and I will keep my promise. So yes, so we have animal appropriate, age appropriate, and number three comes climate and season appropriate. Yeah, we're not talking about the climate story, which is up and around now everywhere, but really, here we are in Scandinavia. We are, as you can see, it's almost March, and we still have about 0.5 meter snow. It's cold. In December and January, we have weeks with about -20 to -30. This is not just one day, can be weeks. Yeah? So you really have to be prepared for the climate. It makes a huge difference if you're in the south, where you might have to take precautions and protect your animals from the heat, from insects, from mosquitoes. So this is very important to give them the shelter they need. And again, here you need to know a lot about the species. For example, our goats, they love the heat, while the horses are in the shelter. And now they have a fan, so they always have some breeze, some cool breeze, and they love it. Yeah, and they are there during the hot hours of the day. And our goats, meanwhile, they are lying in the sun, enjoying it, enjoying the heat. So it's very, very different here. I'm getting just a little closer that you can see both Kafchi and Blackie. So also, when the seasons change, especially from winter to spring now, it's very hard for the animals, especially for elderly animals, to change the fur. So this is the time of the year when they need a lot of energy, a lot of vitamins, a lot of good nutrients, because this takes power away from them and energy away from them to change fur. Also for chicken and quail, so they don't have fur, but they change their feathers. And it's also, this is the time of the year where they don't lay eggs. This is in spring, and then again in late yeah, late summer or early autumn. So be aware of this. When should you start preparing? Well, not when it's already spring. There is this golden rule of starting at least 100 days before. The older the animal, the earlier. Yeah? So give them more nutrients, give them more vitamins, more minerals. I know there is a huge market for these things. I usually stick to 2 or 3 things. I love adding effective and regenerative microorganism to the drinking water. They usually have this there. For the elderly horses, when I see that they really need a little more, uh, they get extra minerals. Uh, I have here some good mixes which I buy. I also like giving them special herbs, like the brännässla in Swedish. So good herbs which I pick and dry at the end of summer. They will get this then in next March, or actually I start earlier, beginning of February. And I must say that for our elderly ladies, I never stop. So they always get this week by week, because I've realized that if I do this, I hardly have any problems at all. So this is how I do it. And now we come to the last item on my list, which is the social factor, the factor of the group, the factor of the pack, of the herd, of their friends. Yes, animals also have their friends. They have their group. They have the feeling of belonging to someone. And this is very, very important. Horses need a group. You can't keep a horse alone. When does a group start? Well, we have always had a minimum of 4 horses, because this is actually the minimum of a group feeling, where they have a feeling of, yes, I'm part of a group, I'm a member of my herd. So that's important. It's also important that you don't change this group too much, that the group remains stable. This is also the same for chickens, for quails, for sheep, for goats. I always give, when people ask, well, why? I give them a short example. Well, just imagine you have your family. You live in your house, you know your family members, and all of a sudden, one day, somebody is knocking on your door and opens the door and comes in, is taking a seat, and from now on, he or she is part of your family. You might go crazy, you might go nuts and say, well, what the hell is he or she doing here? I haven't invited him or her. But this is how your animal or animals would feel when you just come up with there's a new horse, open the gate, and there he or she is. So please don't do this. The social factor is enormously vital, extremely vital for the health of your animal, no matter what animal it is. Sometimes the smaller, so when we come to rabbits, they're very, very sensible here, very sensitive here, that they don't like this. As I said, just imagine somebody's knocking at your door. This is the general part. Let me just run through the terms on this list again. We said it's very important to think about species, animal appropriate keeping. We also said that it's very important to have age appropriate way of dealing with your animals, of feeding them. And we also said that it's climate and season appropriate, that you have to, now Cindy is coming. She has to greet our neighbor. He's just left the house with his dogs. And and also the social factor is extremely important. So let me tell you again that keeping these things on our general list in mind, you will have high chances to keep your animals healthy for the long run, for the long term. And there is not so much to know about species appropriate precautions and healthcare. But what there is, we'll go through every species, every animal in a specific video. So we will deal about the horses, the goats, sheep, chickens, quails, cats and dogs in specific videos. And if you're interested, then please let us know. Become a member of either Free Spirits Association or Terra Mutata Healing Center. We will open and give you full access of our media library, where you have plenty of videos, podcast series to a lot of issues and topics. It is well sorted, so you will get a good overview of all the various areas, and of course holistic and intuitive and alternative animal care is a huge area in this media library. Feel free, get in touch with us, and you will have also many more advantages with your membership. All the best, and see you with our next video. Bye bye.